As you already know, the UK left the EU political structures and the European Parliament on January 31st in 2020. So we got rid of Farage. The Brexiteers now blame the government for not implementing Brexit properly, and others in the UK want the UK to join the EU again. But the EU, of course, moved forward after Brexit. And so in the next weeks, I will make a test here on the channel by bringing news about the EU in one of my daily videos. That's supposed to keep people informed what the UK has left and what people want to return to make informed decisions and give it a more fact-based approach. And since my magazine channel is reserved for information on the development of the Russian war of aggression against Ukraine for the time being anyway, it's another reason to do this here. But honestly, I anyway believe that exactly my audience on this channel needs this kind of information. And look out for the new EU playlist, of course. But now let's talk about today's topic. In view of the unfolding situation in Lampedusa, and while recognizing the increasing pressure along different migratory routes, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen laid out a set of immediate actions to be exercised in full respect of fundamental rights and international obligations. It's a 10-point plan. First is to reinforce the support to Italy by the European Union Asylum Agency and the European Border and Coast Guard, Frontex, to manage the high number of migrants, to ensure registration of arrivals, fingerprinting, debriefing, and the referral to the appropriate authorities. Second is support the transfer of people out of Lampedusa, including to other member states, using the voluntary solidarity mechanism, and with particular attention to unaccompanied minors and women. And three is step up returns by undertaking a renewed concerted outreach to the main countries of origin of the new arrivals, namely Guinea, Côte d'Ivoire, Senegal and Burkina Faso, so as to improve cooperation and facilitate readmission, and increase the support by Frontex, including as regards training and capacity building, to ensure the swift implementation of returns. 4 is the support the prevention of departures by establishing operational partnerships on anti-smuggling with countries of origin and transit. This includes the possibility of a working arrangement between Tunisia and Frontex and a coordination task force in Europol to focus on anti-smuggling along the route to Tunisia and onward to Lampedusa. And 5 is step up border surveillance at sea and aerial surveillance, including through Frontex, and explore options to expand naval missions in the Mediterranean. Furthermore, they will speed up supply of equipment and increase training for the Tunisian coast guards and other law enforcement authorities. And 6 is take measures to limit the use of unseaworthy vessels and take action against the supply chains and logistics of smugglers, and ensure the disabling of recuperated boats and dinghies. And 7 is increase support by the EUAA to apply swift border and accelerated procedures, including the use of the safe country of origin concept, rejecting applications as manifestly unfounded, issuing entry bans and recording them in the Schengen Information System SIS. 8 is increase awareness and communication campaigns to disincentivize the Mediterranean crossings while continue working to offer alternatives such as humanitarian admission and legal pathways. And 9 is step up cooperation with UNHCR and IOM to adopt a comprehensive route-based approach to ensure protection along the route and to increase assisted voluntary return from countries of transit. And finally 10, implement the EU-TU Memorandum of Understanding and prioritize actions with immediate impact to address the current situation and accelerate the contraction of new projects under the Memorandum of Understanding. At the weekend, Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni visited the island together with EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. Von der Leyen announced this 10-point plan there, which included greater surveillance of the Mediterranean and better training for the Tunisian Coast Guard, as I said. She also appealed to other EU states to voluntarily accept migrants from Italy. However, the EU states have not yet managed to pass a comprehensive reform of the European asylum system. Legally, Dublin is still the ruling one. A compromise was reached in June, according to which asylum procedures should be significantly tightened, but an agreement with the EU Parliament is still needed. The EU Commission also wants to pay Tunisia around 127 million euros to reduce migration via the North African country and stimulate the weakening economy. Around 67 million euros of this are to be made available in connection with a controversial migration agreement between the EU Commission and Tunisia, as a spokeswoman for the Brussels Authority announced on Friday. There's also 60 million euros in budget support so that the country can recover from the corona crisis. Tunisia is one of the main transit countries for refugees from Africa heading to Europe. Part of the 67 million euros falls under the package of almost 105 million euros announced in June for new ships and thermal cameras, search and rescue operations, measures against smugglers, and the repatriation of refugees. In return for the millions in financial aid, the Tunisian security authorities should in future take greater action against smugglers and the abandonment of boats. The EU Commission received a lot of criticism for the so-called Declaration of Intent because the Tunisian government was accused of human rights violations. President Kais Saied announced tougher action against migrants in February, accusing them of bringing violence to the country. But meanwhile, the number of first-time asylum applications in the EU rose significantly in June compared to the same month last year. As the Eurostat Statistics Office announced on Friday, 83,385 people applied for asylum in June, 25% more than in the same month in 2022. As in previous months, people from Syria, Afghanistan, Venezuela and Colombia submitted the most applications. 75% of all applications for protection came to Germany, Spain, France and Italy. In relation to the population, most asylum applications were made in Cyprus and Austria. And a spokeswoman for the EU Commission said on Friday as well that this financial aid to Tunisia should also help improve the situation on the Italian island of Lampedusa. Most refugees currently arriving in Lampedusa start in Tunisia. Lampedusa lies between Sicily and North Africa and has been one of the hotspots of migration to Europe for years. Last week, thousands of migrants landed there again on boats from North Africa, more than 5,000 in a single day, and the authorities there declared a state of emergency. And if you want to get more information, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.